I was reborn as the vicious male supporting character in a bloody and abusive novel, but I couldn't change any of the plot because when I arrived, the finale had already begun. I was forced to kneel down by my two sisters because I caused the male protagonist to lose the chance to take the college entrance examination. The eldest sister beat me hard with a stick. She said that I could only stand up after I kowtowed 1,000 times. The second sister threw a bottle of pesticide at me. She said that a vicious person like me should die. Unexpectedly, the next second, I sneered and directly took the pesticide and swallowed it in one gulp. The two sisters were so scared that their faces turned pale. They asked, "Are you crazy? Why are you drinking it like a beverage?" I knelt on the ground, with wounds and bruises all over my exposed skin. The eldest sister, Ellie, spoke in a surprisingly cold voice. She said, "Hurry up and apologize to Nathan, or you will die." Nathan hurriedly said pitifully, "Sisters, don't beat Brother Brian because of me. I just lost the chance to take the college entrance examination. I can still repeat the year. At worst, I can go to work." This attracted the anger of the two sisters in front of him. They became even angrier, probably to stand up for Nathan. Diana kicked me hard in the stomach with her high-heeled foot. She said I had to quickly apologize to Nathan. I sneered and looked at the pesticide bottle in front of me. He was really an NPC, being treated like this by his own sisters. I picked up the pesticide bottle, unscrewed it, and poured it directly into my mouth. "Ah! What are you doing?" Diana screamed in fear, her face turning pale. Even Ellie, who was usually steady, panicked at this moment. She said in panic, "Are you crazy? You actually dared to drink it?" My consciousness became more and more dazed. I wanted to say, "What's there to be afraid of?" The original owner in this world was a vicious NPC who would die sooner or later. I remember it was written in the original text that he was supposed to die here, but by committing suicide with a knife. But now that I have drunk pesticide, it shouldn't affect the ending. But I was wrong. I didn't die because the merchant who sold the pesticide had changed it to water in order to make money. At this moment, that merchant even brought fruits to see me, covering his heart and saying, "Oh my God, it's a good thing I changed the pesticides because I was black-hearted, otherwise I would have to compensate you with my pants." Diana, next to me, looked at me as if she had just cried, her eyes were red. She said, "I was just joking with you. How could you really drink it, Brian? When did you become so fragile?" The original owner was not fragile, after all, he was a vicious NPC. In the plot, he was responsible for framing the male protagonist, and his final ending was death. The male protagonist was Nathan. Some time ago, in order to prevent him from taking the college entrance examination, the original owner deliberately put laxatives in his food. But halfway through, he became afraid and replaced the food with normal food. However, in the end, Nathan did not take the college entrance exam because of diarrhea. This can only mean that he was pretending. Diana asked, "Why don't you speak?" She walked over, and there was a bit of worry in her eyes. In the plot, I had liked to tease her since I was a child, so she hated me. After growing up, she also targeted me in various ways. She was a teacher at our school and always slandered me for cheating, so I was often beaten by my parents. I didn't want to pay attention to her because I was only thinking about how to die. After all, the original owner was supposed to die today. Only when I died could I return to my original world. She said, "Talk to me." Diana grabbed my hand and tried to force me to speak. I pushed her away fiercely and let her fall to the ground. "Get out!" Ellie shouted. "What are you doing?" Ellie came in suddenly. She rushed over and slapped me. She said, "Who told you to push Diana?" This was the eldest sister of the original owner. She had been taciturn since childhood and ignored me. It was not until she grew up that she began to treat me better, but this kindness did not last long, it disappeared because of Nathan's arrival. Nathan is the son adopted by my parents. Since he came, the whole family liked him. It was probably because he had the aura of the male protagonist. Ellie scolded me, Brian, you just caused Nathan to lose the opportunity to take the college entrance examination, and now you push your second sister. You are simply incorrigible. She glared at me angrily. I was angry on behalf of the original owner. He had tried his best to get her gentle treatment, so he made breakfast for her, washed her clothes, and polished her shoes every day. But she made him kneel down and accept a beating at any time. With a bang, I pushed her against the door fiercely and cursed, "Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like this? Brother, how can you treat your eldest sister like this?" Nathan suddenly appeared at the door. But there was a force in my body that seemed to stop me, so the last words I said were, "Okay." She immediately smiled and said, "That's good. You must remember my words. Today I heard that you were sick. Fortunately, I came to see you, otherwise you would really be upset. Don't care how your eldest and second sister treat you. They are not the only ones in the world who like you." I nodded as if I understood. She took my hand and led me downstairs step by step. She took me to eat beef noodles and added double beef to my bowl. She said, "Life is about eating delicious food and having fun. Such days are really happy." I was holding the hot beef noodles and was about to respond to her when suddenly a figure rushed up and slapped the beef noodles out of my hand. The boiling soup immediately soaked my pants. I looked up and saw Ellie's indifferent face. She said, "I knew you were pretending to drink pesticide. What a coincidence that the pesticide was diluted with water. Brian, do you think you can use this method to make your second sister and me feel sorry for you? I tell you, this will only make me hate you more." The next second, Nadia shouted, "You are not allowed to bully Brian." Nadia stood in front of me. I looked at the beef and noodles on my pants, slowly pushed Nadia aside, and stared at Ellie. With a snap, I smashed the beef and noodles on her delicate makeup. I yelled, "Didn't your mother teach you not to disturb others when they are eating?" Snap! A large piece of beef hit her face again. She couldn't help but take a step back and looked at me in disbelief. I continued, "Sister, if you mess with me again, I'll pour sulfuric acid on your face next time." Brian was so angry that she was about to explode. I smiled and threw a piece of beef into her mouth accurately. I said, "Can't even beef shut your mouth?" Ellie was so angry that she screamed. I had hated this cold elder sister since I first read this sadistic novel. After all, she often treated me badly because of Nathan's affairs and made me give in to Nathan in everything. Even the scholarship I got with great difficulty was used by her to buy a guitar for him. On the way to send Nadia home, she suddenly asked me, "Remember to change clothes when you go home? Don't wear wet clothes." I nodded and said, "Don't worry." Even if I was stupid, I could guess the relationship between her and the original owner. She said, "Brian, I feel like you've changed. You wouldn't treat your elder sister like that before." Nadia suddenly said this, and there was inquiry in her eyes. I smiled and said, "People always have to grow up. The original owner should have died, and now I'm helping him to continue living. Every minute and every second of my life, I won't let him suffer any more grievances." After saying goodbye to Nadia, I returned home and sat on the sofa. She seemed to be waiting for me. I thought she wanted to scold me, so I ignored her and prepared to go to the room to find a way to end it. Unexpectedly, she suddenly called me, "Brother, I want to talk to you." I turned around in surprise, "Brother?" She actually called me that. After a brief moment, I said, "Go ahead." She said, "I bought the pesticides, so you can't let the merchant cheat you. I know you really wanted to commit suicide today. I want to know why. There was finally a normal person in this sad story, but so what? In the plot, she had already forced the original owner to death." I laughed out loud and said, "It's so funny. What else could it be because of? Don't you know they targeted him again and again because of Nathan and took away his things? It'd be strange if he didn't think it through." When she wanted to say something else, I just walked away. I was going to die anyway, and I didn't want to listen to these meaningless words. After all, sorry was useless. At that moment, I suddenly thought of using natural gas to commit suicide. It was a good idea. I could also take the whole family with me. At midnight, I quietly went downstairs, and just as I was about to turn on the gas, Nathan suddenly opened the door and came out, scaring me. He walked over, looked at me, and suddenly sneered, "You want to pretend to commit suicide again to make the eldest and second sister feel sorry for you? Brian, I've been watching all day, waiting for you to pull this stunt again." As he said this, he turned on the light, picked up a kitchen knife, waved it in front of me, and said, "Guess what the eldest and second sister would think if they saw me cut by this knife?" Haha. I sneered. I'd seen this kind of lousy plot too many times in bloody and abusive novels, and it made me furious every time. Now, I could finally fight back myself. I snatched the kitchen knife and cut my own arm. I said, "Come, a known person, one knife. How about it?" Nathan stared at me in shock, as if he were looking at a madman. I said, "Some people are afraid of death, but I'm not." As I said this, I turned on the stove and then put out the flame with water. I said, "Let's die here together today, okay?" He was so scared that he screamed, "Sister, second sister, save me quickly. Brian is going to kill me." I sneered, "What a waste." I looked at him with disdain and continued to close the window. Because I had a wound on my arm, bright red blood was flowing everywhere. So when Diana and Ellie came over, the scene they saw was the blood all over the kitchen, the wound on my hand, and Nathan sitting on the ground crying. Diana quickly turned off the gas. She said, "Come on, sister, Brian is injured, send him to the hospital." Ellie was stunned and didn't move but instead pulled Nathan up. She said, "He was going to turn on the gas to kill us, and you still want to save him, sister." Diana was so angry. She said, "It's all because we were not good to Brian that he became like this. Think about it though, have we treated him all these years?" I had lost too much blood, and my vision was blurry, but I felt what Diana said was right. I really wanted to praise her. I was still not dead. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. The wound on my arm had been bandaged. Diana looked at me with concern and said, "Brian, don't do stupid things anymore. If something's wrong, just tell me." But Ellie rushed over and slapped me hard. She said, "If Nathan hadn't called us, would you have murdered us? Brian, how could you be so vicious?" My ears buzzed from the slap, and my vision blurred. The next second, with a loud smack, I slapped her back. I would take revenge on the spot. That's my nature. Otherwise, I wouldn't be worthy of being a man. Ellie's face swelled from my hit. She was so angry her face turned dark. She said, "Diana, look at this. This is the brother you defended. He even dared to hit his own eldest sister." Diana looked at me with a complicated expression and said, "Brian, you really went too far. I've been defending you, but you're so stubborn." Haha. I thought she was the clear-headed one, but she was also an idiot. I smiled and said, "Did I ask you to protect me, Brian?" Diana raised her voice, "Diana." I shouted too, "Who's louder, huh? Come on, let's compete." In the original world, I was almost crushed by work pressure under my leader. Now I could finally go crazy. I picked up the fruit knife beside me and slashed my neck. I said, "Let's compete to see who's crazier, okay?" Warm blood flowed down my neck and dripped onto the white sheets, blooming into plum blossoms. The two in front of me turned pale with fright. "Call a doctor quickly," Diana shouted in panic. Ellie rushed over and covered my neck with her trembling hands. She said, "Brian, you're really a lunatic." I suddenly remembered that in the plot, when the original owner was a child, Diana and Ellie liked him very much. They took him to KFC and played piano on weekends. At that time, he must have been really happy. But now, the two sisters were scolding me. I used to think dying was easy, that I could die in a corner. But now he had died again and again without success. I was rescued, lying on the hospital bed. My parents came to see me. When my mother saw me, she scolded me, saying, "Are you going to heaven? Do you know you scared Nathan to the point of mental problems? My father spat at me and said, "Why did I give birth to a son like you? I really regret it." They probably forgot that they once praised the original owner to the sky. Since they adopted Nathan, they gave him everything and treated him well. In fact, I felt sorry for the original owner. His own sisters and biological parents were all so nice to an outsider. I pulled out the needle on the back of my hand and smashed the vase on the table. I said, "You feel so sorry for Nathan? Then go and accompany him. Why do you come to see me?" My parents were stunned and looked at me with horror, as if they were looking at a madman. They left without saying a word. Diana and Ellie came in again. Ellie looked at the mess on the ground, then looked at me with disgust and said, "Brian, although we are related by blood, you are not as sensible as Nathan, an adult. You keep using Zisha to threaten us all day long. It's useless." The word useless was what the original owner had heard the most, and in the end, he was forced to die. In fact, I think he was quite pitiful. He originally had a happy and wealthy family, but the author wrote him to commit suicide. After Ellie left, Diana looked at me for a long time and suddenly said, "When I was a child, you always teased me, and I thought you were annoying. Now I've grown up, and I thought you would be sensible. I even wanted to move you with the sister-brother relationship, but you still didn't listen. You threatened us with Zisha again and again. If you really want to die, find a place where no one can find you and die. Why do we have to find out every time?" I laughed out loud and said, "Okay, I'll definitely not let you find out next time." She was choked for a while and got up to leave. Before she left, she looked at me with disappointment. When I was about to end my life again, Nadia appeared. She looked at me with red eyes and said, "Didn't you promise me that you wouldn't die? Didn't we agree to go to college together?" My heart skipped a beat and I suddenly felt uncomfortable, but I knew very well that this was not my emotion. Could it be the original owner's emotional feedback? I looked at Nadia and said softly, "Nadia, you are a very good girl with a bright future. You don't have to waste your time on me. I, a waste, will die sooner or later." She immediately retorted, "You are not a waste." She cried and shook her head, then handed me a letter in a pink envelope with the words, "Love letter," written on it. She choked and said to me, "I've liked you for a long, long time. I wanted to give you this love letter first, otherwise I'm afraid that one day you'll leave me and I'll never get the chance." Suddenly, my heart trembled violently. I slowly opened the envelope. It said, "Brian, I don't believe in gods in this world, but I believed after meeting you. You are my God. Every time I see you, I get completely fascinated." After reading the letter, my tears fell uncontrollably. She suddenly hugged me and said, "Please, don't die." For a moment, I wanted to agree, but I knew this was just the original owner's emotion. If I don't die, can I still go home? I fell into deep thought. People are selfish, and I must consider myself. That night, while I was reading, my hand uncontrollably wrote a sentence on the next page of the book. It said, "Please, end your life." I was stunned. This was written to me by the original owner. He continued writing, "No matter what, my ending will be death. If I don't die, Nadia won't start a new life. So I beg you, end your life somewhere she doesn't know. That way, you can go home, and Nadia can move on." He wrote a lot, and only then did I understand he knew he was just an NPC in the book and would die sooner or later. Although I changed his ending that day, the book's plot cannot be reversed. In fact, he had died long ago, and what remained was just his last trace of consciousness. If he didn't die, Nadia would never forget him. But if he did, the author would change Nadia's ending and let her start a new life. This was the agreement between him and the author. In the following days, Nadia stayed with me all the time. She took me to watch sunsets. She said the world had many beautiful sceneries. As long as you are alive, you can keep seeing them. She also took me to eat many delicious foods. She said people live to eat. She really wanted the original owner to survive, but she didn't know he was already dead. Diana and Ellie hadn't come to see me for a long time, as if they had given up. Until one day, Nathan came. He looked at me with contempt and said, "I knew you didn't dare to die. You did all this just to make your elder sister feel sorry for you. It's just a self-torture trick. I can do it too. Just wait, I'll drive you out of the Bryan family completely." I didn't bother responding. I just closed my eyes and thought about how to leave this world without Nadia knowing. That night, Nadia had to go home to take care of her mother. When I was about to commit suicide, Diana came. She walked into the ward with no emotion in her eyes. She simply said, "Tomorrow is your birthday. My elder sister and I have discussed it. We'll celebrate it together. Let's forget the past and live well in the future." I was truly surprised to hear that. I felt happy for the original owner. But he would never see it. He would never see his two respected sisters again. Their attitude began to change only because he completely disappeared after writing to me that day. I readily agreed to her because I wanted to say goodbye forever. This way, they would always remember how Bryan died. Today is my birthday. Nadia sent me a birthday message early in the morning. I put on a white suit, ready to go to the rooftop where the party was held. Nathan also wore a white suit. I recognized that the brand was more expensive than mine. Ridiculous. They said everything would be fine in the future, but deep down, they favored Nathan. No wonder the original owner committed suicide. On the rooftop, everyone was laughing and sipping champagne. When my parents saw Nathan and me, they immediately called him over and began introducing him to important people to pave the way for his future. Whether he took the college entrance exam or not didn't matter. They would ensure he had no worries. But I, their biological son, had nothing. "Bryan, come here," Diana suddenly called. I walked over, and she pulled me aside and whispered, "Apologize to your eldest sister and parents today, and they won't blame you anymore. Recently you've done many things that disappointed us." I replied, "Okay." Hearing my quick agreement, she looked somewhat relieved and said, "I knew you still had a good heart, and your second sister will change her temper in the future." "Huh, she's always like this. In the story, she always gives the original owner a slap then a candy. I will never completely change myself." The birthday party reached its climax, and I went on stage to prepare for my speech. In fact, I was planning to say a few words for the original owner at that moment and then drink pesticide. Unexpectedly, Nathan suddenly ran to the railing, his eyes red, and said to everyone in an aggrieved voice, "In fact, there is one thing I have always wanted to tell everyone." As he spoke, he looked at his parents and two sisters. He said, "Mom and Dad, sister, I was adopted. I know I can never be as good as brother Bryan, so in this family, I have always lived in a submissive way. I thought I would not be bullied this way." My mother quickly asked, "Nathan, was it Bryan who bullied you?" Ellie also said, "Nathan, tell me everything. If it really was Bryan, I will definitely stand up for you." I stood on the stage and watched his performance. Diana didn't say a word the entire time. Nathan looked at everyone and wiped away tears. He said, "Brother Bryan has been beating me in private and warned me not to tell anyone. I often wonder what I did wrong to be treated like this. I can't figure it out, so today I am going to commit suicide." As he spoke, he was about to climb over the railing. Everyone screamed in fear. My mother rushed forward and knelt on the ground. She shouted, "Nathan, don't do anything stupid. Mom will help you. I will teach Bryan a lesson, okay?" Nathan said, "But Mom, brother Bryan is your biological son. I am just adopted. I am destined to be bullied by him all my life." My mother replied, "Then let's kick Bryan out of the house so that he won't be a threat to you." Ellie suddenly spoke up and walked over to him, looking distressed. I thought it was ridiculous. So this is what Nathan called the bitter flesh trick. I stepped down and walked toward him. Diana also spoke up. She said, "Sister, Mom and Dad, do you believe Nathan's one-sided statement? There's no evidence, and Bryan is your biological son. You can't just trust an outsider." Nathan said, "Second sister, I know you don't like me usually, but this time it's obviously Brian who is wrong. Can't you even tell right from wrong? Nathan looked at Diana. I was too lazy to listen to their nonsense. I walked over, grabbed Nathan's hand, and said, "Come, let's jump together." As I was about to pull him down, Nathan screamed in fear. A grown man actually cried. Ellie screamed, "Are you crazy? Brian, let Nathan go." Ellie looked at me angrily. My mother said, "Let my son go, you beast." She cried her heart out. Honestly, it wasn't easy for the original owner to survive in this family for so long. I said, "Why are you crying? I'll die with you." I pulled Nathan and pushed him out. Nathan shouted, "No." My mother knelt on the ground. Nathan was so scared that he trembled all over and actually peed himself. I sneered and said, "Weren't you brave just now? Why are you peeing now?" I picked up his clothes and continued to push him. Half of his body was already hanging in the air. He said, "No, no, I beg you, don't push me down." Nathan was so scared that he kept begging. I got an idea and smiled, "I won't push you, if you tell everyone clearly now whether I've ever hit you or not." I pushed him a little and said, "Hurry up and say it." He said, I'll say it, Brother Brian has never hit me." As soon as these words came out, Ellie said in confusion, "Nathan, then why did you say that just now?" Nathan replied, "Because I wanted you to kick Brother Brian out." I threatened, "Keep talking. If I had known you'd say that, I would have pulled you over the edge earlier." Nathan's urine dripped onto the floor, his voice trembling. He said, "I was just jealous that Brother Brian had everything, so I did this. I'm sorry, everyone. It's all my fault." I continued, "What about the college entrance exam?" He was silent for a moment before saying, "I staged and acted that whole thing myself. I wanted everyone to hate Brian." Suddenly, everything became clear. My parents and Diana all widened their eyes. Ellie said disappointedly, "Nathan, I've trusted you so much. How could you do this?" My parents said, "Nathan, we always thought you were a good child." Diana nodded. I said a long time Agadon jumped to conclusions without evidence. Nathan asked, "Can you let me go now?" He looked at me and I laughed. I pushed him over and then flipped over the railing myself. Diana rushed over and shouted, "No." She said, "Brian, listen to your second sister. We wronged you before. We were wrong. Don't do anything stupid." My mother looked at me for a long time before saying, "Brian, Mom is sorry. I've misunderstood you all along." I looked at Ellie again. Her eyes were red and full of guilt. "I'm sorry, brother." Everyone felt guilty, but the real original owner couldn't see it. "What a pity," I said. "If sorry were enough, no one in this world would die." After saying that, I closed my eyes and let myself fall. Just when I thought I was going to die, Diana grabbed my hand. Ellie also rushed up and held on to me. Both of them had tears on their faces. Diana choked up and said, "I'm sorry, brother. Second sister won't mistreat you anymore." Actually, I realized long ago that I was wrong. I felt especially guilty about the pesticide incident last time. But thankfully, you didn't die. Ellie cried, "Yes, Brian. It's normal for families to have conflicts. Once we talk it out, we can live well together in the future." I struggled to break free. I said, "Let me go. I don't want sisters like you fake people." In the end, I didn't die. My two sisters pulled me up. Then they locked me in a bedroom and took away all the sharp objects. I suddenly regretted being so impulsive and doing this at the birthday party. I should have found somewhere quiet, or I wouldn't be locked up by them now. And Nadia, I don't know how she's doing, but I don't want to see her before I die, or I'll never get the chance to leave this world. I hope things will be as the original owner wished, that after I die, she can start a new life. I heard that Nathan has been kicked out now, but my parents still have feelings for him and are secretly giving him money. Truly, a dog can't stop eating shit. But I don't care anymore. At least I helped the original owner clear his name. Diana came to see me. She gave me a watch, the one the original owner used to love, but she would only buy it for Nathan. She said, "I'm sorry. Second sister has thought it over and truly knows she was wrong." She looked at me sadly and said, "You've suffered all these years. Brian, my eldest sister, and I have always misunderstood you." I didn't want to say a word. I threw the watch into the trash can. She was stunned. Tears fell on the back of my hand. She said, "I've been thinking about our childhood recently. You always teased me back then. It was actually because you liked me as a sister." I was stunned and remembered the plot. It was indeed for this reason that the original owner liked Diana more, because Diana was the only one who would listen to him carefully and the only one who would not scold him for playing games. He liked this second sister very much, but he was young and didn't know how to express it, so he kept teasing her, thinking that this would make her happy. She said, "If you don't answer, I will take it as your consent." Diana cried with joy. She said, "I was ignorant before and was angry with you. Now I understand everything. Second sister apologizes to you. I hope you don't blame me. But if you still can't stand me, it doesn't matter. I don't have to appear in front of you in the future." My parents also came to see me. My mother looked at me and was silent for a long time. She said awkwardly, "It's okay." And then in a very small voice, "Son, it would be great if the original owner could hear it." Ellie was the last one to come to me. She cooked a meal for me herself and brought it to me. She said, "My eldest sister used to do the most excessive things. I don't ask you to forgive me, but I don't want you to die because of me. The world is still so beautiful and you are still young. There are still many things I can do. Live well, okay? I'll go away." I'm annoyed just looking at her. I'll never forget the first day I came here. I was beaten all over by her. She is more vicious than Diana. Diana at least has a heart. I'm sorry. She cried and kept choking. She said, "I really regret treating you like that. I'm not a human being. I actually hurt my own brother. Brian, elder sister, will definitely make it up to you in the future. But some things can never be made up for, just like the death of the original owner. He has disappeared and will never come back. I escaped, knocked out the servants, and then escaped. Unexpectedly, I ran into Nadia as soon as I got out. She rushed over and hugged me tightly and said, "I've been waiting for you." She told me that she knew on the internet that I was going to commit suicide that day, and she had been trying to find me. She knew I was locked up, so she was waiting for me at the door. She said, "Brian, you can't die. Now that everything is clear, we will go to another place to study well in college. School will start in 3 days." Okay, I agreed to her. In fact, I really wanted to tell her the cruel truth, but after thinking about it, I didn't say it. After all, I am not from this world, so I won't interfere with these things. Nadia took me to her home and asked her mother to prepare a table full of delicious food for me. She kept telling me that we were only 18 years old and had a bright future. After we went to college, we could go shopping and go to the amusement park on weekends and do many happy and meaningful things. The original owner wanted to live an ordinary life like this, but unfortunately, he was just a poor NPC. After dinner, I put a bank card on the sink under the pretext of going to the toilet. This bank card was the savings of the original owner, so I left it to Nadia. Then I climbed out the window and escaped. I wanted to find a deserted place to end my life by myself, but I didn't expect to be kidnapped by Nathan. He tied me to a warehouse and installed a bomb on me. Then he had someone tie himself up and installed a bomb on himself. He looked at me and said, "Brian, I must let you know that your family cares more about me. He has gone crazy. I don't bother to pay attention to him. Anyway, we're all going to die, so it's good to be blown to death." Diana and the others came soon. When they saw Nathan and me, they were shocked. Nathan said pitifully, "Sister, save me. Ellie hurried over, but halfway through, they stopped again because there was a sign next to them, which said that only one person can be saved. After the rescue, the other person will be killed by the bomb. Diana said anxiously, "Sister, let's save Brian." Ellie fell silent. She frowned as if she was thinking about who to save. I thought she was really repenting. I said, "Don't save me, I'm ready to die anyway." "Brian, we will save you." Diana spoke hurriedly and walked towards me. Nathan burst into tears. He choked and said, "Second sister, eldest sister, I knew I was always an outsider." Ellie said, "Nathan, don't cry. You are right. Brian is our younger brother. We can only save him." Ellie also walked towards me after she finished speaking. At this time, Nathan suddenly broke free from the rope, rushed over and stabbed my heart with a knife. He said, "You actually like him so much, then I will let him die." Diana screamed and hugged me, "Brian, don't scare me." Ellie's face turned pale and she kicked Nathan away. She said, "Brother, I'll take you to the hospital. Please stay awake. Please, hold on. I can't hear the rest of the words because I'm already dead." I came to a completely black space. A voice told me, "Host, you have completed the original owner's request and you can go home." I asked, "What about the original owner?" The system replied, "He and Nadia will meet in an exceptional parallel time and space. They will love each other and wish you all the best in the future." I replied, "Thank you." As soon as I finished speaking, my eyes lit up and I returned to the original world. There was a lot of traffic outside the window. The employees in the room were desperately making phone calls. I knew that my life as a slave had begun again. Extra 1, after Brian passed away, Diana shaved her head and became a nun. She could never forgive herself in her life because she believed that she had killed Brian. If she hadn't suggested that her parents adopt Nathan, Nathan would not have lived in the Brian family, and Brian would not have died. She would spend the rest of her life in repentance. Nathan was imprisoned and sentenced to death. Ellie suffered from depression and felt guilty. She often wondered if she hadn't favored Nathan, would the outcome now be different? If she could see Ito clearly earlier, it would be nice if she could see Nathan's true face, but there are no ifs in this world. She stays in the room every day, staring outside with numb eyes. She wishes she could start over again, so that the 3 siblings would be in harmony. Extra 2, Nadia went to the South City to attend university. She was very happy, but she didn't know why she was happy. She just remembered that she seemed to have made an appointment with someone to come here. She walked into the dormitory with her school bag on her back, took out a card, and said to her roommates, "I'm very rich, let me treat you to a meal." She didn't know where the card came from, but she knew that her mother found it in the toilet. The account name was hers, and even the password was written on the bank card. Who wouldn't want money? So she kept it. There was a full million in this bank card, and she wanted to use the money to do many, many things. When she went out to eat in the evening, she met a bald woman. She looked at the woman in confusion for a long time but didn't recognize who she was. She just felt very familiar, as if she had seen Nadia somewhere. The woman spoke hoarsely, "I'm Brian's second sister. I saw the love letter in his room. You like him, don't you?" Suddenly, Nadia was stunned. Brian, this name looked so familiar, but she couldn't remember who he was. Diana took Nadia to a nearby coffee shop. She didn't know about the existence of Nadia until she saw the love letter in Brian's room. It turned out that her younger brother had a girl he liked. In her impression, Brian was a very disobedient boy who only knew how to bully Nathan, but now she knew that her younger brother had many sides that she didn't know. Nadia sat opposite Diana, listening to her talk about the boy Brian, and also saw his photo. This boy was really good and excellent, and he was admitted to the same university as her. She felt very familiar, really familiar. Suddenly, many memories appeared in her mind. She remembered everything about Brian. She murmured, "Brian is the boy I love most." Nadia told Diana, "Each of you is the murderer who killed him." Diana froze, then burst into tears and choked, "I'm sorry, I know. I'm sorry for him, so I've been repenting for my whole life. I just want to know about his past from you. I want to listen. But Nadia shook her head and said, I won't tell you, I won't tell you, I won't tell you, you are not qualified to know. People who do wrong do not deserve to be forgiven. Nadia said and left. At this moment, her eyes suddenly went dark. She opened her eyes and came to her high school alma mater. A voice told her, welcome to the parallel world. This is a new beginning for you and Brian.